Welcome back to Normal Baseball's Top 10 list for 2023. Today we have our final Top 10. It's relief pitchers. Let's do it. What's going on? Welcome back to Normal Baseball's Top 10 list for 2023. Today we have our final list. Round of applause.
We've made it. We've made it.
What a time. Today we end out with relief pitchers. I don't know what else to say. We made two different lists. We are going to give our top 10s. We're going to go 10 to 1. Compare our lists, see who we had on our list that maybe we might not have had. Either way, we hope you enjoy. If you do, make sure in advance to like, comment, subscribe, and share. That'll help us out. We appreciate it. I'm Alex Normal Dog. That's Lewis. And this is our top 10 relievers for the 2023 MLB season. So, basically, we're just going to go 10 to 1. Are you ready, Lewis?
Yeah. I would love for you to kick us off.
You want me to kick us off? Okay. So, my 10th best reliever in baseball this season, I have from the Los Angeles Dodgers, Evan Phillips. Evan Phillips is a guy who many people might not have known up until last season. Last year, he made 64 relief appearances for the Dodgers, had a 1.14 ERA. He's lined up to be their closer this season. He had a 0.762 whip. Just absolutely incredible. He really limited a lot of runs. He only gave up 8 earned runs all season in those 63 appearances. Just a really, really good season. And before this year, he was kind of not great. And of course, like the Dodgers do, he went there and just became great. So I'm hoping
Mark Prior masterclass.
Yeah, I'm hoping he can turn it up this season and be even better in their closer role. He had 11 strikeouts per 9 innings. He struck out 33% of the batters he faced, so a third of the batters he faced struck out. He had a 153 batting average against. Just all around great player, and I think he will continue to be pretty good this season as the Dodgers closer. Yep.
Yes.
Did you have him on your list?
I did not. I thought about putting him on my list, but this is one issue that I believe you had. Well, not issue. One thing that you were stating during your starting pitching that I more lean towards viewing relievers like this. I need to see them do it for multiple seasons. I need to know that everything is there before I can truly put them in the upper echelon of the top 10 relievers.
That's fair. I saw a lot of people...
but I do believe that he is a great closer, or reliever, I should say, and hopefully he will be good this season.
Yeah, I like I said, I think in my starting pitchers, I also did look at a lot of the guys as like, let me see you do it again. But in this case, it's the Dodgers, and his stuff was just so dominant that for me, I couldn't really just like turn it down, especially as a reliever. You're not pitching as many innings, so you have those 1 or 2 innings, and you just kind of have to throw lights out stuff, and that's exactly what he was doing all of last year. I'm excited to see, especially on a little bit of a worse Dodgers team than last year, I'm excited to see if he can come in and just be that guy who dominates and closes out games when it might be close, because having Craig Kimbrell close for them like they did last year was not great. So I'm glad that they got this guy coming in, closing games now. Looking forward to seeing him be a lights-out closer this year. And I have faith in him to be.
Yeah, I completely understand that. We'll be rooting for Evan Phillips, right?
Yes, Evan Phillips.
Yep, Evan Phillips. It'll be exciting to see what he has, especially being in a more important role this season.
Yeah. All right, who is your number 10?
So at my number 10, little interesting here, I had Jorge Lopez of the Minnesota Twins.
Fair.
looking forward to seeing what he can do in a full season without getting traded mid-season. He was an all-star last year where he posted a 158 ERA plus. He looked really, really good out of the bullpen. I was really hoping that the Orioles kept him instead of trading him away, but I guess his value was at what the Orioles considered their highest, so they moved on from him. I think now that he'll be in a bullpen with Johan Duran, we're going to be talking about how he is one of the better relief pitchers in the game.
That's fair. He was in consideration. He did not crack my list, but he was definitely in heavy consideration. I think, yes, like you said, with another year, he will continue to possibly be really, really good. And I'm waiting for that next year to come, which is hopefully going to be this season, that he shows us he can do it again without being traded. But for me, he just didn't quite crack that top 10 list.
Yeah, that's understandable. I get that. That's pretty cool. Let's move on to our number 9s.
Yeah, you want to do your number 9 first? You got
Yeah, I'll give my number 9, which I had as relief pitcher from the St. Louis Cardinals, Ryan Helsley. He looked pretty good last year, being an all-star last year, really upped the velocity to a whole new level for relievers, set a crazy bar that only a few were able to get to. What's that smile for? Where do you have him?
Go for it. No. Keep going. Go.
He posted a 3.06 ERA plus last season and just looked really, really good. Had a 9-1 record, which as a reliever and mostly a closer, I mean, he only lost one game. He looked really good, looked really, really good. And over the course of 64 2/3 innings pitched, we were talking about a guy who had 94 strikeouts. Pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah. Pretty good is I would say an understatement. He came in on my list at number 2. So huge jump right there. I had him as my second best reliever in baseball heading into next season. The guy throws gas. His four-seam fastball gets to 105 sometimes. So when you're talking about guys who can just throw the ball hard, be absolutely dominant, because they could just blow it right past guys, you're thinking about Ryan Helsley. He also has a slider, a curveball, and a changeup in his arsenal that are also pretty deadly, dare I say. He is... My fault. He is 99th percentile in fastball spin. He is 100th percentile in fastball velocity. He is 91st percentile in chase rate. He strikes out batters at a crazy clip. 39.3% of the batters he faces, he strikes out, at least last season. 13.8 strikeouts per 9, and a 1.25 ERA, like you said. Just all around, incredible season, and I think he is just going to continue to be that lights out reliever who comes into the game. Say you're facing the Cardinals, it's a 3-2 ball game going into the bottom of the 9th, and they bring in Helsley. You're not winning that game. He is coming in. He's striking out the side. He's catching you with these nasty pitches. It's very hard to beat Ryan Helsley. Struck out 94 batters in 64 innings, 64 2/3 innings last season. Just incredible pitcher, and Ryan Helsley came 12th in Cy Young voting.
Yep,
as a reliever.
Really like him. Hoping that this season is one of his best.
Yeah, and before that, he was like, he just kind of came out of nowhere, but I think it's because he developed that 105 mile an hour fastball, with that spin that just is just crazy. So Helsley came in at my number 2 spot, a lot higher than you had him. I can see the argument for him being a little lower, just because, like you said, especially how you said it's going to be, you think that they need to kind of prove themselves more, do it for more than one season, which I completely understand, but I have faith in him, and I think he's going to be great next season. All right. I have him at my number 2.
All right, and that was my number 9. So how about you give us your number 9?
My number 9, coming in from the Baltimore Orioles, I have Felix Bautista.
He was my number 7.
Really?
Yes.
Even as a rookie last season?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So Felix Bautista pitched in 65 games last season, had a 2.19 ERA, 15 saves, 65 2/3 innings pitched. Struck out 88 batters. Really, really good season last year from him, especially as a rookie coming into the league at 27 years old. Not to mention his entrance is electric. The whistle that goes into the lights flashing, just really electric. He strikes batters out at an extremely high rate. He throws a really, really, really fast fastball. His average fastball is 99 miles an hour. He gets whiffs. He's just amazing in all aspects of the game. And Felix Bautista comes in at my number 8. I think he will follow up his rookie season by having another really great season on an Orioles team who is going to need to have lights out relievers to back up their not so amazing rotation. So that's my thoughts on Felix Bautista, and I had him at my number 9 spot.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I want to note that his pitches are so very close to being what we could consider some of the best pitches in baseball right now. His sinker is it looks unhittable on the broadcast, so I cannot imagine how batters see it in the box. Last season, over 65 and 2/3 inning, he had 88 strikeouts with a 183 ERA plus. Just looked really, really good. Excited to see his sophomore season.
Me too. Do we think he'll be higher on this list going into the next season?
I hope so.
I hope so too. Do you think he will be? Not hope.
Yes.
You think he'll be higher? So you think he's going to get better?
Yes.
Okay, fair. I'm going to go with the same. He throws a four-seamer, a split finger, and a slider, so a splitter. I like it.
Yeah.
Let's go. Go Felix Bautista, go Orioles. Do you want to give us your number 8 now?
Yes, my number 8, which, I mean, if it's not time to get spicy, this is the time now. At my number 8, I have Michael King of the New York Yankees.
Fair.
Last season went down with an injury rather early into what was a very long season for the New York Yankees. Kind of wish that we'd have to see him for a full season. However, if, as it's reported that he is fully healthy and ready to go and looks good, then I think that we're very easily able to put him in the top 10 here. Last season, he was absolutely lights out for when he did pitch. He had a 2.29 ERA over 51 innings where he had 66 strikeouts and an ERA plus of 171 with his whip being exactly a 1 dot. Looked really, really dominant. I'm hoping that we get to see him for a full season. Let's fucking go.
Okay, fair. Mike King, yes, I considered putting him on my list. He was injured for most of last year. He'll be back this season. I like it. He didn't quite make my list, but don't get it wrong. I do like that pick. I don't have much else to say about it that you didn't already highlight in your little spiel there. So yeah. Do you want me to give my number 8?
Please do.
My number 8, for some reason I think Baseball Savant is down right now. Are you on Baseball Savant?
I'm not, but I can try to get it up.
Because it's not working on either of my devices that I'm trying right now. So, but my number 8 pitcher, relief pitcher for the 2023 season.
Yeah, it got me right in.
No, now try searching someone up and then hit enter.
So we'll say your number.
All right. My number 8 reliever for the 2023 season is Liam Hendriks. Get better soon. Obviously diagnosed with cancer this last offseason. Hoping he gets better quickly, and I hope we see him back on the field really, really, really soon. He is a dominant pitcher. Last season, pitched in 58 games. He finished 51 of them, had 37 saves, 57 and 2/3 innings pitched. 2.81 ERA. He struck out 85 batters. Just one of the best all-around closers in baseball. And not only that, but he feels like unlimited energy every time he throws a single pitch. We all saw in the All-Star game last season when he thought his mic wasn't working, he was just having a great time.
Oh, yeah.
He was saying some fun stuff. I just love the guy all around, and I think once he gets back on the field, he's going to be just as dominant as he was before.
Yeah, Liam Hendriks, I did not put on my top 10 just because of the uncertainty of what's going on. However, if he were to be completely fine right now, and we're hoping that he gets back and is healthy very soon, he would have made my top 10. I just don't know what's going on with him. But get well soon, Liam Hendricks, and I believe everyone in baseball is rooting for you.
I agree. Everyone in baseball is rooting for you. We love you, Liam. So he did not crack your list.
Correct.
Fair, because of the uncertainty. So who was your number? What are you up to now? 7?
I'm up to 6. My 7 was Felix Bautista.
Gotcha. Who was your number 6?
My number 6 from the St. Louis Cardinals. Not from the St. Louis Cardinals.
Oh, wait. Should I do my 7 first?
Oh, yeah, please do.
Good thing you said the wrong team.
Yeah.
So my number 7 was from the Minnesota Twins, Johan Duran. Johan Duran is a guy who was a rookie last season. Started with the Twins. He had a 1.86 ERA in 57 appearances with 8 saves, 67 and 2/3 innings pitched, 89 strikeouts. Just absolutely dominant. And for a rookie, I think that is very promising. And I think those numbers just tell me that he will be getting better. So I have extreme optimism for Johan Duran, and I'm excited to see him pitch this upcoming season in his sophomore campaign. He struck out 11.8 per 9. Just absolutely crazy. .975 whip. And you got to keep in mind that this is as a 24-year-old rookie in the league. So
Yeah,
absolutely
for sure.
dominant. Johan Duran cracked my number 7.
Yeah, I was between putting him in my 10 spot, between him and Jorge Lopez. I went with Jorge Lopez just because I do believe that over the course of the season, he will be a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, so much red in his Baseball Savant page. So we kind of had opposite. Like, I didn't have Jorge Lopez on my spot. He is just, I don't know, I wasn't feeling it. This guy averages 101 miles an hour on his fastball, and it has a nasty changeup because it averages 96 miles an hour, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it's insane.
So, Johan Duran came in at my number 7 spot. I'm excited to see him kind of pitch better this season, because I think he will pitch better this season. It's going to be dangerous, especially on a Twins team that now thinks they can win more than they did last year. So he'll get more opportunities to kind of come in those games that he needs to perform. Last season, if he gave up a couple bad runs, a couple blown saves, it wasn't the end of the world. This season, they need every win they can get. So Johan Duran came in at my number 7.
Yep, understandable. So now we are both in our top 6, correct?
Yep. Who was your number 6?
All right, for my number 6, hailing from Houston, the Lone Star State, we are talking about Ryan Presley of the Houston Astros, now 2-time World Series champion. Wait, is he? No, only 1 time. My apologies. We're talking about the most recent World Series champion closer from the Houston Astros. Ryan Presley looked absolutely amazing in 2022. Over the course of 50 games, you've pitched 48 and 1/3 innings, having 65 strikeouts with an ERA plus of 130. Looked amazing. Definitely, as long as he keeps his power pitches a little bit more on the edges of the zone and not as hittable, we're going to see him become one of the best relievers in baseball, as he has been for past years.
I like it. He didn't make my list just because I was for this list, just something about it made me feel, I was big with the young guys. I was big with the who was really performing last season. Ryan Presley, yes, did perform last season, but he did have some mishaps as well. So, I don't know. He is up there. I do see the argument for having him in your top 10. Just did not crack mine. He would be in a top 20, though. So
Okay.
That's my thoughts.
All right, so then who is your number 6?
My number 6 is a guy who I'm almost 100% sure is higher on your list. Is Andres Munoz.
Yes, I have him at 4.
You have him at 4. I knew he was higher on your list. Andres Munoz from the Seattle Mariners. This guy absolutely lights out. Averages 100 miles an hour on his fastball. Last season was his first real season pitching full season with the Mariners. 64 games he pitched in. Had 4 saves only, but that's because they weren't really using him as a closer. But 64 games, 65 innings, and 96 strikeouts. He was just catching bodies all season, and I think it was amazing. I had such a fun time watching it. His fastball velocity is just crazy. Like I said, that 100-mile-an-hour average fastball. He gets batters to chase on his slider. He only has 2 pitches, which when you are a relief pitcher especially, coming in there, pitching 65 innings, having a 2.49 ERA, only giving up 18 earned runs all season, and striking out 96 batters, only having 2 pitches is crazy. Oh, yeah. Especially when he throws the slider more than he throws the fastball, which is something you might not expect.
He looked amazing last season, and especially now being this team is more set to compete. We're going to see him in more high leverage situations. Andres Munoz, let's go knock it out of the park this. Well, actually, let's keep it in the park this season. Let's keep it between you and the catcher only.
Yeah, all strikeouts, every batter.
Now that would be fun.
Do you think that's possible?
Yeah, it is. For a reliever, it's definitely possible.
65 innings. You think 65 innings the guy would strike out? Whatever 65 times 3 is?
65 times
That's
3?
like 195. Do you think he would strike out 195 batters in 65 innings?
It would not surprise me if there were a reliever that eventually does something like that.
My ass, it wouldn't surprise you.
Can you let me talk? I don't know if it could be done over the course of a full season, but it could be like a Stephen Barry Bonds Swan type thing. Like, oh, hey, over the first 15 games, he's struck out the side on all of his attempts, that type of thing. You know, like, it wouldn't surprise me there. But I don't think it could go over the course of a full season.
Yeah, definitely not.
Well, I think you can't say definitely. There's no such thing as never in baseball.
Watch. If it happens in our lifetime where someone goes, we'll even say 50-plus innings and strikes out every single batter, I'll give you my life savings.
So all they need to do is have 3 times the amount of strikeouts they do to innings pitched.
Well, that would be striking out every batter they face. No, they need to strike out every batter they face.
So batters faced and strikeouts has to be the exact same.
Yes. So they cannot give up a hit, a run, a walk, nothing.
Okay.
In at least 50 innings.
I'll give $100 million.
Yeah, $100 million on it. And if it doesn't happen, then you owe me $100 million.
We'll see.
But yeah, Andres Munoz, getting back to the actual topic. He was at your 4, right?
He was at my 4, yes.
I think that he could have definitely been higher on my list. I just went with more, with some different guys towards the top. So he did hit my number 6, but I think by the end of the season, depending on how they use him and how dominant he is again, he can be even higher. So who was your number 5? We're in our top 5s now. I already gave my number 2, which was Ryan Helsley. So I'm in technically my last 4, but you have your top 5 left still?
Yes, I do.
So who is your 5?
So my number 5 is Devin Williams of the Milwaukee Brewers, now slotted to be their for sure closer now that Josh Hader got traded away in August of last year's trade deadline. Over the course of 65 games, we watched him have 15 saves over 60 and 2/3 innings with 96 strikeouts to a total of 205 on his ERA+. Looked really, really good. All of his pitches are still there and look absolutely amazing. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do this season.
Bless you. Bless you again. Me as well. I had Devin Williams at my number 4.
Okay.
So just above where you had him. He was just incredible. He's made his changeup famous. Yeah. His changeup is one of the nastiest things in the game of baseball. Almost unhittable, dare I say. It's just the changeup has an average of 42 inches of drop, which is just wild. And 19 inches of break. It's ridiculous. I think it's unfair watching Devin Williams pitch against some guys, and the batting average on the changeup last season was 185. Not to mention, he also had an 090 batting average against on his fastball. So he's got pitches. He's one of the best in the game, and I think he'll continue to be one of the best in the game as we kind of get through the years, because this was his 4th year in the big leagues. 3rd full year, I'd argue. 2nd full year, I'd argue. Yeah, My only issue is that he does walk a good amount of guys. He walked 30 batters in 60 innings.
Yeah, his control, but I think most of his stuff is swing and miss outside the zone. So as long as he tones it up and tunnels batters really well, we're talking about one of the best relievers in baseball.
Yeah. Go Devin Williams. Love that guy.
Yes.
Well, so now let me move down to my number 5.
Yep.
Was a guy that he was teammates with earlier this year. It's Josh Hader.
He was my number 3.
He was your number 3. I think got a lot of hate this year for no reason. Well, let me take that back. He got a lot of hate this year for a fair reason at the time, but when you looked at it in the course of a whole season, I would say it was not a fair assessment. He still was very good last year, although, yes, I am aware he had a 5.22 ERA. I don't care what anyone says. He is still one of the best pitchers in baseball. He's still one of the best closers in baseball. He is going to be so valuable on this Padres team this year. Even last year, people didn't really realize how good he turned out to be in the course of the full season because that ERA, like I said, was at 5.22. It was high. But just everything in account for, he was striking out guys. He was still getting outs. He just had that really, really bad stretch in towards the middle and end of the season. But once the playoffs hit, he was just kind of lights out again. Yeah. So I think we're going to see an extremely good year from Josh Hader coming up, and I still think he's one of the best closers in baseball. I had him at my number 5.
All right, understandable. I had him at my 3, so I believe I only have my 2 and 1 left. So
I think I only have my 3 and 1 left.
All right.
I think they're going to be the same people, different order.
Yeah, so give us your 3.
My number 3, best pitcher, my number 3 best pitcher in baseball heading into the 2023 season. From the New York Mets is Edwin Diaz. The Trumpets are out. The Trumpets were out last season. Edwin Diaz was just about as good as you get. He was lights out in every aspect of the game. No one was hitting off him. He obviously had one of the best stories in the game with the whole trumpet entrance, and he was making a lot of noise doing that. He had 32 saves last season in 49 games finished, a 1.31 ERA. He was 9th in Cy Young voting. He even got some MVP votes. The guy was lights out. I assume he was your number 1, so I'll let you talk about him more.
Yeah, he was my number 1. Looked absolutely amazing over the course of a full season, and everyone knew that he had it in him, especially considering that back when he was in Seattle, he had a 57 save season. This previous season in 2022, he had a 32 save season over the course of 62 innings, 34 hits given up all year, which is just amazing, 118 strikeouts, and his strikeouts per 9 at 17.1 for a reliever, which is just amazing. Really looking forward to seeing what he does in his 2023 season. I had him at my number 1.
What brought me to what made me scared to put him at my number 1
is being a hater. Yes.
No, it's more of the. I'm not a hater. I like Edwin Diaz. It was more of the up and down seasons that he's tended to have. When you look at it, he has a really good season, then a not as good, then a really good, not as good. I'll read some of just numbers here. In 2018, he had a 1.96 ERA with a .791 WHIP. In 2019, the year after, he pitched 66 games, so still had a whole season under his belt, but had a 5.59 ERA and a 1.379 WHIP. 2020 in the shortened year, he was really, really good. 2021, he was kind of middle of the road. He wasn't anything to write home about. He was giving up runs every now and then. But last season was just absolute lights out. There was no hitting off him. And it was as simple as that. He was a dangerous guy. That's why I hesitated to put him at my number 1. That's why I wound up not putting him at my number 1.
All right. I had him at my number 1 just because he was and will be this season the most dominant closer in baseball.
That's as simple as you're putting it.
Yep.
Well, I had someone else at my number 1.
All right.
Do you have? Wait, you have? You
I
have
just
your
have my 2 left.
2 left. So I think my number 1 is your number 2. At least I expect it to be. So I'm gonna ride with it. My number 1 best closer in baseball heading into this season. I have Emmanuel Clase from the Cleveland Guardians. I'm a big Emmanuel Clase fan. Why are you looking at me? You're looking at me with a very blank stare right now.
Okay, you had him at number 1.
I had him at number 1. Last season, we say Edwin Diaz was lights out. He was just as lights out. He had a 1.36 ERA in 77 appearances, which is kind of crazy. He had 42 saves, led the league. 72 and 2/3 innings pitched. Had 77 strikeouts. A .729 whip. Just all around an incredible pitcher, and I think he's going to get even better next season. I think he's going to continue to close out those close games with the Guardians. They're going to really be relying on him heavily to have another very, very dominant year.
All right. I had him at my 2 just because I do agree with you. Although he was the most dominant pitcher in the American League, obviously I believe Edwin Diaz was much better than him. I completely understand, though. Emmanuel Clase is it's consensus one of the best closing pitchers in all of baseball, and I'm looking forward to him. Maybe, depending on how much the Guardians use him this year and how close the games are that they play, maybe we see him go for a 50-save season, or we're talking about a 100 strikeout season, because he has the stuff to do either one.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's just yes, his strikeouts aren't as much as the big bad Edwin Diaz of the league, but just I think his stuff in general is less of just let me overpower you and strike you out, and more of like I can get you out in multiple ways. So that's just really why I like Clase, and I think when I'm going based off this season, I think he'll just be a little bit better than Edwin Diaz. So I see the reason to have him second. I think he's first. I'm very excited to watch him this season.
Fair enough, as am I.
I think that's it.
That is it.
We're just going to go over our list one more time, and then we have officially finished the top 10 lists for this season. Let's clap it up just one more time. If you're still watching this, we appreciate you if you're watching or listening. And, yeah, Lewis, do you want to give your top 10? 10 to 1.
Yeah,
go for it.
So the final time that I will be reading off a top 10 list is for the relief pitchers. For me, at 10, it was Jorge Lopez. 9, it was Ryan Helsley. 8, Michael King. 7, Felix Bautista. 6, Ryan Presley. 5, Devin Williams. 4, Andres Munoz. 3, Josh Hader. 2, Emmanuel Clase. And 1, Edwin Diaz.
Fair. Okay, my top 10 list, again, also the last time I'll be doing this for these episodes. Number 10, I have Evan Phillips. Number 9, I have Felix Bautista. Number 8, I had Liam Hendricks. Number 7, I had Johan Duran. Number 6, I had Andres Munoz. Number 5, I had Josh Hader. Number 4, I had Devin Williams. Number 3, I had Edwin Diaz. Number 2, I had Ryan Helsley. And at number 1, I had Emmanuel Clase. Let's clap it up one more time. That is the final top 10 list for this season. We appreciate you guys watching, listening, viewing, subscribing, commenting, following, sharing. If you enjoyed, we love you. If you're still watching, we love you. And we will see you guys when the season starts or in the next episode, whatever that may be. Peace.